Welcome into CBS Sports HQ, presented by Geico. Amanda Garrett, Chris Hassel with you here. Well, free agency officially done, and what does that mean? Or not free agency officially done.
I was going to say, it's already over. It hasn't even started.
Deadline. I'm already one step ahead of myself. We turn to free agency, so on Monday, teams can start negotiating. Wednesday, the new league year begins. Okay. Start signing away.
All right. Okay. So we had all the franchise tags. No running back got tagged. Yeah. So the running back market, I mean, there's a lot of big names out there, but as we know, as Pete Prisco has been telling us for many, many years, the older you get, the more your value goes down. And Derrick Henry, man.
Look at him at the gym, though.
I mean, look, he looks great, but, I mean, tread on the tires, right? He's the most decorated running back available, but also the oldest, 30 years old. Spent his entire career so far with the Titans, and he is the #3 ranked running back, according to Pete Prisco.
Chris, I don't know why you're not putting your own gym videos out there.
I do have dumbbells that go up to 52.5 pounds at home.
Taking a look at the top free agent running backs available, Pete Prisco has Derrick Henry listed as 52nd on his top 100. His top running back available, though, that would be Saquon Barkley. Let's welcome in NFL expert, host of the Pick Six podcast. One of the hosts there, a very good friend, Will Brinson, sporting his brand new haircut. Will, none of us would trust you as a matchmaker in real life. No offense.
I would trust him.
Romantic matchmaker.
How rude.
I mean, maybe give it a shot here, but you're going to play matchmaker for free agent running backs here. We are going to start with Saquon Barkley. Where would you like to see him end up?
So I think Saquon's got a lot of interesting fits, and if there wasn't another swole gentleman that we just saw on this list, I would say Saquon Barkley to the Ravens would make a lot of sense. But instead, I'll say Saquon Barkley to the Chargers. I think when you look at the Chargers, you know, this is a team, we could see them draft an offensive lineman at #5. They have Justin Herbert, of course, losing Austin Eckler, likely in free agency, depending on what, you know, I mean, a lot of these guys end up going back to their same teams. I think it would be a nightmare fuel for Giants fans if they re-signed Saquon. But I'm going to say the Chargers because I think in a Jim Harbaugh offense, you're going to see them pound the rock a lot. Like, they're going to try to run the ball, this Greg Roman, you know, run offense. And Saquon Barkley, when he's healthy, a really dynamic running back. I mean, Dave Gettleman liked him enough to take him 2nd overall. So give me Los Angeles for Saquon.
Yeah, I like that one, but why not the Texans?
Texans, just, I just told one team, so I picked the. Texans make a lot of sense. Texans make a lot of sense. You can put them on the Texans if you wanted to. Houston, by the way, Houston had the most. I saw this come out from Aaron Schatz, formerly of Football Outsiders. I think it's on FT and Fantasy. Houston had the most adjusted games lost, and it was fueled by their, in terms of injuries, by their offensive line. So really interesting to think what might happen if Houston gets healthy on the offensive line and add somebody like Saquon Barkley.
All right, I'm going to put him on the Texans. You can go ahead and put him on the Chargers.
This isn't your matchmaking.
I know, but like you said, he's not a very good matchmaker. So
you literally just said you trust me. You said you trust me, and then you immediately turned my thing upside down.
Okay, so how about Josh Jacobs? Won the rushing title a couple of seasons ago, then went back to the Raiders, and it just wasn't a very good season last year, but a lot of disjointed stuff there. Where would you like to see him next season?
Friend of the Pick Six podcast, by the way, Josh Jacobs. Love Josh Jacobs. Great guy. I'm going to put him back on the Raiders. I think he fits exactly what Antonio Pierce wants to do, which is feed the football and run it down everybody's throat, or at least try to. This is a team that we don't know what they're going to have at quarterback. Russell Wilson could end up being there, and even if he is, you're going to want a run game, and Josh Jacobs brings that. He brings that physicality. I think you'll see a lot of these Raiders players maybe stick around more now that Antonio Pierce is in charge versus Josh McDaniels, when there might have been a mass exodus of anybody who is remotely close to being a free agent or just wanted out. So I'll say the Raiders as well, or if you want Hassel, the Texans.
I'll have everybody going to the Texans.
Yeah. Will, let's mention the swole guy we saw there, Derrick Henry. Do you have dumbbells at your home? Chris said you had 52.
Yeah, they go up to 52.5. They're the Bowflex, like, you know, you turn the knob. What do you mean? 52.5. I need that extra 2.5 pounds.
I have 12-ounce dumbbells at my house.
12-ounce
dumbbells. It's a can of Miller Lite. It's a can of Tuffy beer.
So let's talk about Derrick Henry here. Look, even after that last game with the Titans, I think it was pretty well known that he was going to move on from them. He said thank you to them, had this big goodbye. And Pete said, look, he's 30 years old, probably could go for like a good 2-year contract, though. You like him with the Ravens. Why is that?
can you imagine having running the read option with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and trying to stop that? It's like you either have to be really, really fast to slow down Lamar Jackson and tackle him, or maybe you'll just run. You try to run up the middle thinking you're going to slow down the run, and Derrick Henry stiff arms you into oblivion. I mean, I just like the idea is too enticing for this not to happen. I really think Saquon Barkley again would be a great fit in Baltimore, but Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson behind that offensive line in a Todd Monken Georgia-style offense, give it to me in droves. I love the idea of Derrick Henry with the Ravens.
Okay, let's move on to a running back who's a little more slim in stature, a little bit faster, Tony Pollard. Now, he had a really good year in 2022. Fans were saying, give him the ball more, make him the feature back. They did, right? But this season, the rushing yards were the same, but the yards per touch, the touchdowns way down. Is it the blocking that was an issue? Where would you like to see him go?
I think it was actually the injuries for Tony Pollard. And if you look at the depth chart, right now the only running back that the Cowboys have under contract, I think, is Deuce Vaughn. Maybe they might have had Snoop Conner and Malik Davis, but Tony Pollard and Rico Dowdle, both free agents. I think there's a really good chance that sort of the buzz out there right now is that the Cowboys want Tony Pollard back. He played on the franchise tag last year. He signed it quickly because he was coming off an injury, and he was surprised that they gave him that kind of guaranteed money. And then I think you see him. You see a more explosive Tony Pollard, maybe a bounce back season, particularly for fantasy football owners who were very disappointed in him last year. And I think he ends up back with the Cowboys or maybe the Texans.
Or the Texans. Everyone to the Texans. And there are reports that Tony Pollard has said that he would like to be back with the Cowboys, even if a team offers him more money. I don't know what I think about that, but he would like to stay in Dallas. You mentioned, Will, a lot of teams, a lot of these free agents will probably end up on the same team. And that's what you like for DeAndre Swift. And the Eagles do not have a history of giving contracts, a second contract to running backs. This would be an exception for them. We saw the absolute collapse for the Philadelphia Eagles last season. So why should DeAndre Swift stay?
Well, you see the numbers here, right? Career best in terms of carries, rushing yards, and scrimmage yards. I mean, he had a lot of them came in that one game where he rushed for, I think it was like 200, was it 260 yards? I don't think it was 263. But whatever. The point being is, this is a guy who came in on, as part of a trade. Another Georgia guy, right? I mean, Howie Roseman loves his Georgia guys. When you're mock drafting for the Eagles, just pick the top-ranked Georgia guy or the top-ranked Alabama guy. I think Swift really worked in Nick Sirianni's offense. It clicked with him. We could also go with the Texans here.
Why has this become like a joke? I mean, couldn't the Texans use one of these great free agent running backs?
In full disclosure, Hassel, I'm covering up for the fact that I didn't actually give anyone to the Texans as part of this, and so
okay.
I'm listening. It's really more of a me thing, not a you thing.
Covering your bases. Okay, let's move on to Austin Eckler. There were some really concerning side-by-sides that I saw on social media this year of Eckler running a few years ago compared to this past season. He's 29. Yeah. It appears like he's lost a step or two. Can he be a feature back, and where would you like to see him go?
Did you see the one the guy tweeted out, he's like, don't tell me Austin Eckler isn't still one of the best running backs in football, and it's all these highlights of Austin Eckler. It's like Antonio Gates is celebrating a touchdown. I'm gonna have Austin Eckler going to the Broncos. I think the Cowboys is a better answer. I just think that they're going to end up going with Tony Pollard. I was trying not to do too much crossover here, and I mean, in all seriousness, the Texans would make a lot of sense for Austin Eckler too. I'm not even joking. That's a good fit. But I think the Broncos, it doesn't seem like Sean Payton is really happy with any of his players. They have Javonte Williams, and then of course Jaleel McLaughlin, who was a really nice sort of side back last year. But I think Austin Eckler and that Sean Payton offense, you think about all the stuff that he did with Alvin Kamara in New Orleans, different built players, but in terms of the skill set, pass catching out of the backfield could make a lot of sense. And if you like spite and you like revenge, who would you rather play for than Sean Payton? He's a very spiteful man. I love it.
Just for the hell of it, matchmaker for Russell Wilson.
So there's a buzz out there about the Steelers. I think that they could make sense.
We're going to talk about that next.
Oh, well, that's a perfect segue.
But
we'll probably talk about it on the podcast. I know that.
Bryant McFadden, Steelers great, will tell us if that is a good fit for Russell Wilson. Pick Six podcast, by the way. Latest episode, Will and Lee J, but I believe we'll have a new one today as well. The Will and Lee J special.
If you were back in the day,
yeah,
because you've been married for like 1,000 years.
Yep.
Would you let Will set you up on a date?
Sure. Why not? What's wrong with that?
Do whatever.
We had some good times with Will out in Vegas. That's how I got coached.